So, you've heard from me in the home studio, and now it's handing over to me, not in the home studio, here to talk about YouTube and Twitch in a content empire. Well, Burke, you know I'm a fan. I'm so glad to have you here. Watching you on Twitch is definitely something I enjoy, not only in my personal time, but in my professional time, so I hope we get to work together again. But we also have with us one of my favorite YouTubers of all time, One Proud Bavarian. Say hi to the folks.
Hey! Hello there.
How you doing? Today we'll be talking about how to build a streaming empire, as it were. How to build your content and build your channel. As you know, most of you know, these are two of our most prolific streamers, not just for the game, but for our community. So I figured I'd ask them on today to chat a little bit about how they created this entire channel, their community, and how they support you guys moving into the future. So I just wanted to know, guys, are you excited to be here? Are you happy to be at PDXCON?
Of course. Holy cow. I can't wait to see what you guys have in store, because every time we come here, it's always something crazy, and you're going to reveal some stuff, and it's always exciting times.
I can only agree. I'm very excited because I missed PDXCON last year a lot. I was there in 2019 in Berlin. It was amazing. So I can only hope that, you know, in this PDXCON we also get a full package, essentially.
Yep, and can I just say that I'm the least dressed individual in this entire ensemble right now? I'm kind of jealous.
Nah. I think you look
business expense.
You look perfect.
Business expense and everyday wear. I like how it's the dichotomy between the two. It's really good. So, for those of you that follow YouTube, for those of you that follow Twitch, you guys know their names, OPB and BurkeBlack. From what I understand, you guys didn't really have a platform to start from. You both started from scratch. So, would you mind telling me a little bit about what got you into streaming, how you started this experience, and what got you up to where you are first and foremost in the entire streaming platform, but your community, because that's why we're here, is to talk about the community. And I'll let you guys figure out which of you wants to go first.
I'll let the pirate go first. I don't want to get raided.
Don't worry. We only do that after the show. How you got started? I can honestly, I was doing something in real life that did not pan out, and a friend of mine was like, you're an entertaining kind of character. Why don't you try this live streaming thing? And I didn't think nothing of it, so I just, I think I was playing some strategy games, and I just booted up that stream one day. And what I started liking is that I didn't really like, you can't do this stuff planning that you're going to make, you're going to make all this money and everything. It doesn't work that way. You can't plan to make anything. You have to fall in love with the idea of doing it first. And for me, I just really enjoyed like doing like these strategy games, like Paradox games or other games like that. And seeing some people in chat comment to me about what's their experience, or like cheering me on, like, oh yeah, you're gonna get the crown from the king, you can do it, man, or maybe if you go and try to deal with Ireland, you could like build a power base there. And I was like, yeah, that'd be cool, let's try that, It's just the communication with actual people. I got into that. That's the first part of any kind of like building anything, is loving the actual act of doing it before you ever, like, there's so many guys that are like, I'm going to make so much money doing this. They fizzle out in 3 months because they don't make anything. I didn't make any money for the first 6 months. And that was a $60 tip from a guy. I was like, hey, that was cool. Here's $6. And I was like, what?
Did you then go and buy that guy a pizza? Because it seems like he might have deserved a pizza at that point.
No, I bought a game. I instantly bought myself a game. It was like $60. Like, this is amazing. It's a time, I maybe was lucky to get a single game, but instantly bought myself another game. I was like, all right, we're going to stream this game. And then it just, everything that was given to me on that stream, I went right back into the stream. I don't think I bought anything for myself for years. Like, it just all went back into it because you needed to. I started such a terrible journey. I made it so much harder for myself than it needed to be. I had a crap mic. I had a crap webcam. I had a crap setup. Half the time, people were watching me, couldn't even tell what the hell I was doing on the stream because it was so pixelated, and I never even stopped the time to see if the stream was watchable or not. So, first piece of advice. Do your research before you do it. There's a lot of people out there that do this live streaming stuff that say they could start off with a shotgun, meaning they get some. You don't have to spend a lot of money. There's tons of free stuff out there. When I started in 2013, there was nothing. You couldn't Google this stuff and find it. There was nothing. You had to really deep dive to find anything, or even ask other streamers at that time, and they didn't like helping nobody back then. Okay. But now you have so many resources, free art panels that people give out, free overlays, so many YouTube videos to help you get your bit rate correct so your stream doesn't look like garbage. So much quality microphones made now that are cheap and cheap webcams too that you could get that make you at least look good, or don't even use a webcam. It's up to you. Sky's the limit on this stuff. So
definitely,
my journey was
literally the limit.
Rough.
Is the sky,
It was rough at the beginning, and the rocket up was, as my friend Ferret Bomb would say, the streaming is a marathon. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
So
definitely,
I never had a rocket that just took me up to success. I had a couple of games that just I was doing Fallout 4 DLC when no one else was doing it, and I got a following on that, and then Stellaris.
and then of course
did that.
Then of course Crusader Kings, right, Burke? Right, Burke?
Of course, Crusader Kings. That was actually a really good stream. That was a very good stream there too. But just make it entertaining for people to watch. You make it. Ask yourself, would I watch myself? Would you watch your own show? If you don't find yourself entertaining, then why would anyone else?
Exactly. And I know I saw both of you guys in 2019 at PDXCON. Then I was on the other side of the fence. I was just hanging out, being that guy that knew everyone at Paradox. So it was really interesting for me, coming from a community background, coming from community management, seeing how you guys had built your empire. And even at that time, I really wanted to get a chance to talk to you. So this is kind of like, I wouldn't say a fanboy's dream come true, but this is definitely a community manager's dream come true, is seeing somebody that has built their empire, has done the work, has put in the time, has built the fan base and the following, and made sure that you are part of your community as well as a leader in your community. And it's really a unique experience for me to be able to actually talk to you guys and get in here and dissect and see how your brain works. And, it is hard work. It is something that you have to build from the ground up. And I appreciate you guys and respect you both for doing that, because you've both welcoming all of your new community to the environment that we have. You're very happy, you're very friendly, but you also are knowledgeable. And that's something that I respect. I definitely look for in my community members. And so thank you from the community at whole. But now it's time for OPB. What got you into streaming?
So for me, it was much more recent. I started in 2018, and I will be brutally honest here. I started because I was playing these games anyway. I said to myself, I might as well, record it. I might as well stream it. I did a lot of different things that I tried out on the channel. It was all Paradox, because I was playing mostly, EU4. I was playing Hearts of Iron 4. I was playing CKIII, of course. And I will say what Burke said earlier. I think that is really, it rings true. I didn't really have any, motivation. I wasn't really like, this is where I want to end up. This is the quality that I want to deliver. And I think that was a problem for a long time. I started, a while afterwards, I started to just look back every week or every other week. And I said to myself, what did I like about my content for this week? What did I not like? What would I like to keep doing? What would I like to stop doing? And that is, I think, something that really contributed to me being able to actually see this as more than just me saying, I'm playing these anyway, I just want to, record myself or stream during it, where it became, there started to be a bit of a level that I wanted to reach, that I wanted to achieve. And that is something that has accompanied me ever since. My wife always says the Pareto principle, which is essentially the 80-20 rule. It means that when you sit down and you want to do something, you want to achieve something, 80% of the result will be achieved with just 20% of the work. And you just need to identify what this 20% of the work is. As it was said earlier, I mean, don't go back and start watching my old episodes, please, because terrible mic, terrible everything, basically. I think my recording quality wasn't that bad, but everything else was really bad. But it's one of those things where once you identify that you have certain factors like the mic, like the recording in itself or the stream in itself and how you interact with chat, that sort of stuff, you can identify that, and that is pretty easy. For me in particular, because I'm very, very active on YouTube itself, there are a lot of other things that also play a role, like the thumbnail, like everything that goes into the description, what sort of themes you set for your streams or videos. And I will say that that is essentially the rest of the work. So 80% of the work that give you 20% of the gain at the end of the day, but you want a complete package, so you got to really work fully on it. And I think at the end of the day, for me, I've pivoted a bit. I've moved on. I really enjoyed some very recent CKIII streams that I've done just because it's so much fun to have people talk to you about, hey, let's do this, let's do that, just like Burke already highlighted. And that is something that you will always find in your niche. If you do content creation, you will have to look at yourself, say, this is my content now, but it might not be in 10 months. In 10 months, I might be somewhere else. There's definitely, just like he said, it's a marathon. There's a necessity for longevity in your content. You can't just go and say, this is it, I'm going to explode, and then I'm going to go wild, I'm going to have millions. Instead, you got to be, okay, this is my project, and I'll see what I like about it, I'll see what I don't like about it, and then I move on from there. For me, yeah, what really has grown on me is scripting. So I essentially write scripts. I record something in the recent weeks and months. It's been a lot about CKIII mods. It's an incredible modding community. I can only really push that further. It's insane. I've talked to so many modders. I'm in so many modding discords. I'm keeping track of so many projects, and they're truly outstanding. There's a new level of cooperation as well. And talking about that, highlighting the work that they put in, showcasing what is going on there, I think that is something that I would say is, for me, currently the project that I enjoy the most, primarily because it's something where I can give back as well. Obviously, as a content creator, you have a platform, and I would like to use, for example, that platform in this case to just say, hey, have you heard of the mod that, I don't know, brings a truly epic world into CKIII that would have never otherwise existed. It's a lot of fun. And I will say that at the start of my journey, and this is where it comes to, your content today and your content tomorrow, I hated editing. I never edited. I hated it with a true passion. As you have to sit down, you have to be like, oh God, what am I going to cut? Do I need to change the sound level here? It's annoying. But once you start doing it, once you do something where you see, hey, this is really, I want this video to happen and I need to learn something about it, you can put in the work and you can get it out there. It's 100%. I can really, really only agree with Burke on this. It's a marathon, and you need to keep making sure that you do things that you enjoy and that you think are things that you really actually want to do. I can do that I enjoy, or I can do things that I enjoy, but at the end of the day, if I just, do them halfway and not full way because I'm not fully committed, then it's going to come out poorly. And that's definitely not what you want, because people will notice, you will notice. And to be here for a long time, to do this for a long, long time, you need to start doing things in a way that you enjoy, and not just the process of, but also the results. So yeah, at the end of the day, definitely make sure that you understand what you have in front of you, what you like, and then what needs to be done and what might be able to wait, for a bit longer, just in case that you're already in a position where you do good content, but you can make it a bit better. Some things can wait. I think some things can just wait, being able to do the proper right transitions and that sort of stuff, for example, in editing, being able to have an amazing scenery. I've seen so many streamers, it's actually insane what's going on with some of the sceneries that they have in, behind them, that sort of stuff. Postpone that stuff, just focus on what you think is really primary right now, and then do that. That's my biggest hint, or my biggest advice in that regard, because otherwise you're just going to get lost in the details, or at worst, you're not even going to get into the details because you're going to lose interest. You're going to say, oh, I didn't have any success, I didn't enjoy what I did, and neither is good. So definitely make sure that you find the balance there.
Right, and balance not only in the systems that you're working in your community, but also in work life. I know it's really tough for you guys, especially with the current state of events, to keep that energy and that passion driving towards your community. And we thank you for it again. But what is one of the biggest struggles been for you guys over not just the past year, but throughout your career, and making sure that you keep that balance, keep that steam, and make sure that you're continuing towards a better, brighter future?
Oh, geez. The last year.
Gotcha.
Honestly, I think the big thing was to just not make the channel about that. I wanted it to be an escape for people, so they would come there and not have to think about that stuff, but just watch some goofy pirate guy do some stupid stuff to make them laugh.
Definitely. So
that was kind of my focus throughout the year. It showed up a couple times in chat where we talked about it, but for the vast majority of the time, it was escapism for people that were watching. As for my personal struggles, just, I think it's, I'm at a place that I think every streamer understands where I'm coming from, where, you're always at that moment where you think this could all end tomorrow. I think what live streaming and playing video games and making people laugh and making a career out of that is like a true blessing. Like that's a dream. It's not like, you're not doing strenuous work. You're not doing a 9-to-5 job. At worst, what we have is mental exhaustion. Like you're mentally, you'll be exhausted from what you do, but you're not doing back-breaking work here. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's not to just take away that it does have a work mentality to it. There is a lot that you put into a stream. There's a lot that you have to think about and plan and strategize because you want to make sure that you have it honest. But you're always fearful that you're going to look at that number and see 0 viewers instead of your normal viewers. And that's always the scary thing. So maybe my personal struggle is that I've maybe focused on that overkill. It's always a worry on my mind. I'm always worried that a joke's gonna fall flat and nobody's gonna laugh, or it's gonna be an awkward situation, or I'm gonna play something and then the audience is just gonna disappear because honestly, at this point, I can't even play games without them. I have to have Twitch chat there. I can't even function without them now. I try to play games offline, and then something cool will happen, and I'll be like, "Oh man, that was."
Look for the chat, and it's not there.
Yeah. They're not there. And so, now I'm attached to them. And I think a lot of viewers don't even realize, when you get used to seeing names pop up in your chat, and then they just stop showing up, and you're like, "Oh, what happened to Legolas 49? I don't see him anymore. Where'd he go?" You don't like that feeling. It's a crap feeling because you get attached to those usernames. I'm sorry, but you do. It happens. And that's part of the mess as well. I love those little monsters.
And that's something that definitely shows through on both your communities is that sense of belonging, that sense of I am here, I'm interacting with the stream. That's definitely something that comes through in your work. So good job on that, definitely, for real.
Yeah. It's tough to, I knew right away I didn't want a community of just people spamming memes. Or just being filthy or nasty. I wanted a community that I could actually talk to, to get to know, And there's always going to be boundaries with that, It's not like I want somebody coming over for tea tomorrow. Hey, I watched you for 5 years. I showed up at your door. How you doing? We're best buddies, right? All right, pal. Let's not get crazy here, but you do get attached to people, and it's just fun to see them all the time, and I like that we have this ability to have a community that can actually talk and hang out and talk about nerd stuff or video games or strategies. I love that.
Yeah, and so that was that's why streaming is what it is now, is because of people interacting. It wouldn't be the same if we were just sitting there talking to the same 4 of our friends. It's the generation that we all kind of grew up in was like, oh, I've got 4 friends who are going to come over on the weekend and play Mario Kart. And while that definitely still has a place, streaming gives us that ability to be like, this is my family. This group of people is my family. We're going to stream together. Yeah, I really appreciate that. Yeah, the pirates, exactly. But now, OPB. How about you? What has been your biggest hurdles or obstacles along the way?
I think for me it was definitely something personal related to being a content creator because, as it was mentioned before, it's something very unique. It's something that hasn't been around for a long time. It's a very young thing to do. And it's also, since it is so new, since it is something that hasn't been established, you don't really have a red thread to follow. You can't say, okay, I'm going to do it exactly like this. This is where you want to be when you're 30, when you're 40, when you're, wherever, and who knows how long it lasts. There's never certainty in that. But I do think, for me, a question that came to my mind was most certainly the idea, because I always like to look up. Now, not in a way as like, oh, why am I down here? Why is this so bad? But it's more like when you start growing, I hear this, I've never been to the gym. I've always been a skeleton. But what you hear people that go to the gym say is essentially, once you start working out, you will never stop perceiving yourself as small because you start saying, hey, but yesterday, I was considerably smaller and now, I can push it even further. And the day after, the yesterday was even smaller. So
100%
the way I see
true. Can verify that.
See, we're all avid gym goers, as you can see. But the way I see it, I really have the same perception of this. I have this sort of thing where I look up and I say, okay, what other content is out there? What do I do? What do I bring to the table? How does it compare? And that sort of stuff. And I think at the end of the day, that is something that is just naturally a part of me, of my personality, that I want to orient myself upwards. But at the same time, a big step for me was coming to peace with the fact where you are, or where I am in this case. So that I say, okay, you know what, this is the community, this is the content that I make, and being happy with that while not giving up. That's just, you know, where I'm personally coming from, while not giving up. Hey, of course, I want to do more, I want to do greater things, I want to get better at, you know, streaming, editing, etc., etc. But I think a big topic of being in this sort of wild west of content creation, where there aren't that many people that look to you and say, okay, here's everything you need to know, here's your 3 years apprenticeship of being a content creator, was definitely a challenge to sit down and say, hey, you know, I can establish where I am, what I'm doing, and it makes sense. It's not just, I'm not just lost in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, so it's the bleeding edge, living on that cusp of new technology, new creations, finding ways to innovate. And honestly, without you guys, I would be lost as a community manager, right? I look to you guys, my influencers, my community, that you guys are my models. What do you do that works? What do you say? How do you present yourself? How do you carry yourselves? And without you guys, honestly, community management would not be what it is. It's because of influencers, because of people creating content, creating these communities, that we have any idea of what it is that people want, what they want to see, who they want to see. Yes, we do look to you when we look for numbers or we look for a good, positive environment. We know that you guys are going to provide that. That is something that we as community managers look to you for. But the same can be said, right? Without community managers, influencers would be doing their thing. And, you know, I don't want you guys to be lost in the noise. I want to bring all of our influencers as high up as I can, bring you the recognition you deserve. On that note, trying to recognize all of that, how has the changing numbers, the changing popularity, and the changing content you've done, how has that affected and shaped you? Is that something that drives you, or is that something that you use to help guide you in the process?
You know, just to add to what you were saying about, you know, us with influencers and community, I think just another really good thing about live streaming, because I can't really comment on YouTube because I don't really do that much. I have somebody that does my videos, so I could never do what he does. I'm not. I can't do the editing and the planning and all that stuff. I'm not good. I'm terrible at that.
Very few can.
Yeah,
that's why
I just do live stream. Exactly. I just do live stream and just wing it every night and just you know, just see how things go. That's more my style, though. You know, just we're not a whole lot of planning. Just let it go and just have fun with it. But I think it's good that as gamers, you know, we've always had the trailer. And the trailer they got us all excited. We can't wait to get the new game because that trailer was awesome. And then so many gamers have been burned by trailers that, you know, the trailer was, you know, designed to make it look like something. And then they actually played it. And that segment was like 5 minutes of the game. Yeah. And now the rest of the game was just like, bleh. The great thing about live streaming is that they can literally sit there and watch you. You can't hide it. If the game sucks, it sucks. You can't hide it. And I think that's just great for gaming in general, and great for developers, because when they're like, "Hey, we made a great game, and this is something that you can just watch to see if is something you'd be interested in." And I think that's wonderful for the entire industry, that people could just now get an unfiltered look at games, and they don't have to have, you know, they don't have to watch a trailer or something just to get an idea if it's going to be something that they would want. And they can actually talk to someone playing the game if it's something that's going to be valuable to them in the long run, you know, because, you know, the $60 is still $60, you know. But and now I turned myself around. So the question was,
how has the community influenced you, or is it just a guidepost that you use to steer your career?
Oh, my community turned me into this. This is literally because of my community. We were playing Grand Theft Auto. I mean, my perceptions on how streaming and how you should be, you know, I didn't know. I followed role models like Total Biscuit, you know, Angry Joe, you know, people like that. And I'm sitting there and I'm saying like, oh, you know, I got to give reviews for games, or, you know, I have to play games like, you know, like the man versus game. I have to play games on the hardest difficulty. You know, I have to be the best.
Prove yourself.
And I quickly learned I was terrible at all that stuff. Everything that I thought that I wanted to do. Awful. I did reviews that were garbage because I don't know how to articulate my opinion on games. Ultimately, my value is: am I having fun? Yes. Me like game. Me not have fun. Me no like game. You know. Yeah. That's pretty much as blunt as I can be about it, man. So over time, I just kind of like listened to chat, and chat was more about fun and goofy and having laughs. So I focused on a lot more on that stuff. And then the whole pirate theme came because chat was just, really, we were playing Grand Theft Auto, and in that you're a crew, right? Yeah. So my username has always been BurkeBlack on everything that I've always played, because my dad named me that from Star Wars Galaxies back in the day. If you remember that game.
There you go. Throwing it back.
I was a bounty hunter, and I was BurkeBlack, right? So, my crew, we created the Black Crew in that, and we themed it after pirates, because we were anarchy and chaos and do what we want, because a pirate is free, and it just kind of took off. They just started calling themselves the pirates, and I was like, I'll be your captain then, and it just exploded. It just became a thing. So that's something that my crew or my community's inspired, pushed me toward, and it makes me want to provide better content for them now, because I want them to have that funness, something that they can watch with their kids and have a laugh. And the strategy of streaming, there's a lot of strategy to it.
Definitely,
you can't just stream whatever you want and expect to get eyes on your channel. It doesn't work that way. There's a great just general guide, and I've followed this in my streaming career, and it's always worked for me. It's different from me now because obviously my viewership is different from then, so it doesn't apply the same. But I've always liked, how like if using Twitch as an example, because I couldn't tell you about YouTube. I'll do that in a second. No worries.
We'll get to YouTube in just a moment.
Yeah, with Twitch, like when you go to browse games and there's that category of games, right? I would usually ignore that first 5 rows, and I would stream all the games 5 rows down, but not go 5 rows below that. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like 5, row 5
that
to
middle
10.
ground. Yeah.
That middle ground. That's where you're going to find people that want to watch, because the big dogs ain't streaming those games necessarily, where your small channel is going to be drowned out by tons of other streamers. And you can find a place or a niche very much like Paradox games are fantastic streaming games, especially for small channels. I know I'm at PDXCON, and I'm saying this, but there is a wonderful community out there of Paradox community players that will tune into small channels all the time to see what you're doing, because your playthrough is going to be different than everyone else that's on that channel right now.
Right. Paradox
games are fantastic niche games for streaming on Twitch and building an audience. They're great for that.
Definitely. And that's where, YouTube and Twitch kind of differ. Twitch is more of live and on the go, and you have to tact constantly to be ahead of the curve. But I know that YouTube gives a better snapshot. You can see what people like right off the bat and kind of use that as a guide. But I know it's not that cut and dry. It's not that straightforward. And OPB, how have you found that for your community? Have you used it as, my community wants to see this, I do more of this, or have you used it to try and encourage further participation?
Right. I'm a really stubborn guy. So when I create content and like when I do videos, when I do streams, I like to say, and this is I'm not talking myself out of my head here in terms of my community, because I say this very openly. I talk a lot in my Discord, for example. I talk a lot in my YouTube comment sections. I did those videos, for example, on the Dev Diaries before the game was released. There was a huge FAQ. We went through that and we talked about that as a community. So there was all that sort of stuff in that where I really enjoy seeing the community feedback, because obviously I live in a bit of a bubble. I have a very strong opinion on what games I would like, what I would like to see in the game, etc. Right. But I would also like to hear what others say. But when it comes to my actual content, I definitely read comments that suggest things that tell me what I should do and what I could do. But at the end of the day, you kind of know you work on this for hours and hours and hours, and most people that just leave a comment don't. Now, I know that sounds very dismissive, but the way I see it is just I set out with the streams, with the videos. Personally, I set out with a bit of a vision where I say, this is what I want to do today. This is what I want to talk about, what I want to sort of put into the center. And there is a community dialogue, and I really, really enjoy that. I'm a huge fan of that because it really makes it so that I can see perspectives that otherwise I wouldn't see. But at the same time, when it comes to my content itself, it's definitely more driven by what I want to do. I've pivoted very heavily in the last year or so when it comes to the videos that I make. Now it's really, really a lot of editing, a lot of scripting. And again, the streams that I really, really enjoy, I can only recommend. I also have to say I have the deepest respect for Burke, because this sort of streaming, and he says, you know, oh, it's exhausting, but it's not the same as like heavy work. And obviously that's true, but at the same time, oh my God, I could not imagine streaming every day. My brain after 4 or 5 hours of streaming is fried. It is done. And on the other hand, if you edit content, right, you can, oh, I'm going to go and just take a walk. I'm out of here. You know, I'll see you later, because there's nobody watching there. There's nobody there in the moment. There's no necessity that I am there on air for 5 hours or something. I can split it up. I can have some breaks. I can have some pauses. And that's definitely more my speed as like regular content, as much as I enjoy streaming. But I would definitely say when it comes to the nature of my content and what I do, there's a lot of thought that goes into it from what I want to have as a creative sort of vision. But at the same time, oh my God, I love the tip for the, you know, select the games that aren't the most popular ones, because that's where the huge streamers are and nobody really goes anywhere else. You know, for example, it's like the famous flavor of the month. You want something where there is a community around it, for example. And on YouTube, oh my God, it's a lot of numbers crunching. I'm not gonna lie about it. There's a lot of monitoring. I think YouTube made it spectacularly easy to actually see things. For example, how often do people see, you know, your thumbnail, and how often do they then click through it? And if it doesn't work, you know, I've made great thumbnails. I thought they were great thumbnails, and they get horrible click-through rates. That's, you know, what that number is. And obviously that makes me sad, but it also means let's change it up. Let's see what works. And on that note, I can give one tip if you make content on YouTube. Don't make the content on YouTube for people that are already searching for it. Make the content for people that might be interested in it, but don't know it yet, because the algorithm really is your friend. And I know that especially smaller YouTubers are like, oh, the algorithm doesn't want to promote me. I hate this. And I get it. Really sucks. It's a bad feeling. But at the same time, there's only so many people that actually search for the words CKIII, mod, I don't know, what did I do? You know, I did so many mod showcases, Lord of the Rings, for example, right? There's only so many people that search for it, but there's so many more people that the algorithm is like, hey, I know that 5 years ago you watched Lord of the Rings, the clip where Aragorn hits the helmet and actually breaks his foot. Did you know that? Yeah. And in that case, I would say that just trust the algorithm, make something where the people aren't sure that they want to know this, but you know, they are likely to know about it. So yeah, it's definitely a different experience with Twitch, but I think that there is a lot of strategy in both. And I must admit, I have a lot of respect for people that really do this full-time streaming, because my God, it's exhausting. People don't realize this, but to talk for that many hours, it's an experience. It certainly is.
Yeah, I mean, even sitting in the studio filming is really tough, because, like, you know, getting out there, getting in front of a camera, keeping a positive attitude, while that's the default for most people that we participate with in the community and influencers, we want to see positivity, right? We want to see people that enjoy being there. Well, that's definitely our primal set. That's where we live, is happy and positive. It is very difficult to keep that environment up and going on stream, but it's also hard, I know, on YouTube to keep that tone even, right? It's you don't want to go from one clip that's super excited to, oh, yeah, I'm here playing the game. And reshoots are definitely a thing that I can see being an issue. But we've gone through the highs, we've gone through the lows, we've gone through tips for beginners. We've gone through thank yous for you guys, which I'm going to do again in a little bit. But our final thoughts here. We're almost out of time. We haven't got much time left to chat with you guys. I would love to do this all day. I would love to sit and talk with you all day, communicate, have a conversation, sit down, drink some tea, and find out what makes you tick. We're always welcoming you on the Discord. We're always welcoming you on Twitch and YouTube. So definitely keep posting that content. But one of the questions I have left very shortly for you guys is, in the future, what is one thing that you're hoping to get out of the streaming platforms or YouTube platforms? What is one thing that you hope to drive towards in the future? What is one goal that you hope to achieve, whether it be within the next year or within the next 5 years?
See, That's funny that you bring that up because I'm working on the future now. For me personally, I'm building a studio that I just kind of want it to be. It's always been this dream of mine because now that I'm into the whole live streaming thing, I really always wanted to dive into it really head on. But never. I've been saving for. I've been living in the same house for like 28 years, and I just moved out to this new place. So,
Nice.
getting this opportunity is all because of live streaming on Twitch in my community. So now I actually have a space in a nice basement that's going to be transformed into a pirate studio. And I'm going to have a live cabin, and there's going to be a big VR area and board gaming for Warhammer 40K stuff, and just a lot of goofy stuff that I've always wanted to do, but never had the room to do it. And basically, I just want to keep taking the bar up on Twitch. I want to get more creative, do more innovative things, more theatrics. I love theatrics. I don't like being the streamer that just sits there and just plays the game. I want to get crazy and really blow people's minds. I want if somebody comes into that channel and they see that me in front of that live pirate scene, right? With it's going to have windows and it's going to have like shelving. It's going to be made of wood. It's going to look like a real cabin. And if somebody comes in there and they go
in the corner.
Exactly. If they come in there and they look at me and they go, is he actually on a ship in the Caribbean?
Right.
I can't. Yeah. Is he really? I feel like I've done my job at that point. That's what I want. I want that sense of the disbelief. And as far as the future goes, I mean, I have no idea. It's just like he was saying. It's such a new thing. I don't think it's ever going to die out. I think live streaming is here to stay. I think the idea of watching this content, regardless what Bill Maher says, is entertaining to people.
Right. That's definitely
I think people
why I have
find
a job.
entertainment. Yeah, I think people find things entertaining regardless what it is. Anything could be a waste of time. Anything, playing kick the ball back and forth is a waste of time. But if you're having an enjoyment in something and it's entertaining to you, that's all that matters. Right. So I don't think live streaming is ever going to be something that fades away or goes away. It could change. It could be different formats, Twitch could shut down tomorrow and something new would take its place. But I don't think any of this is going anywhere. It's definitely here to stay. And what that future holds for it, I honestly don't know because we don't have anything to base it on. I don't know what else to say. Like, this is where this platform is very much like this. So this is where it's going to go. I don't know. But I am here to stay. Right. I have no intentions of leaving. I could do this forever. I love it too much to just be like, all right, see ya, I'm out. Not to say that if I get older as a man, I might take more days off and cut some hours. I'm sure I'll probably end up doing stuff like that. 10 hours a day every day except for one day is that's a lot of hours. But that's all I could possibly see. But my audience, I'm assuming, will grow with me just like the Rolling Stones audience did with them, right? Exactly. Well, I'll be 80 years old. They'll be 80 years old, and we'll all be like, "Hey, let's see the Call of Duty 27. It's looking real good. You guys ready to play that?"
And I know we're both looking forward to it. What about you, OPB? What are you looking forward to in the future? What does the future hold for you?
In 2 years, I'm going to check where BurkeBlack is so that I can then say in 5 years I'm going to be there because, currently no red thread, but once Burke has done it, I can take that as an inspiration. But yeah, no, for me, I mean, to put it into numbers, I guess, because obviously I want to do this for as long and as successfully as possible because it's a lot of fun. It's something that you don't really encourage or rather find anywhere else. But at the same time, to put it into numbers, I would like to collect at least one, otherwise as many play buttons as I can because, one day when I'm old, I'm going to be like, look at this, nobody else got it, but here we have it. And that would definitely be the starting point where I then start telling the kids, hey, okay, here's my 50-minute story about how I used to be on YouTube. But who knows where that goes, for how long it lasts. Again, I would like it to last for as long as possible. I mean, who wouldn't? And beyond that, just in general, being able to try out new things is something that I'm very interested in, that I basically value, you know, in this job above all other things. I've never considered myself a creative person, but weirdly enough, everything that I've learned about, you know, Premiere, about After Effects and so on and so forth, I would like to learn more and then hopefully put that out so that one day I can look back and say, hey, this actually looks like a totally professionally created video right there. Or, you know, again, stream. I'm also looking into that at the same time. I would like to step it up, you know, have this sort of energy that Burke is going on streams as well. But that is all stuff, essentially for me, to sum it up, I just would like to improve. That is the fun in it for me, and that is where I want to keep it, yeah.
Well, boys, while that doesn't sum it up, I think that gives us a good idea of not only where you've been, but where you are and where you're going. I, for one, definitely look forward to seeing both of you in the future. Can't wait to work with you again. I know it's been a blast. It's been a fantastic ride so far. And there's only more in the future in store for all of us, including Paradox and including the entire streaming community. So, BurkeBlack and One Proud Bavarian, thank you so much for joining me today.
Cheers.
Thanks for having us, man. Appreciate it.
And for you at home, definitely make sure that you tune in. Check out One Proud Bavarian. Sorry about that. So you at home, make sure you tune in and check out One Proud Bavarian on YouTube and BurkeBlack on Twitch, and follow along as you make sure that they're giving you the best bang for your buck in the community, as well as join them on their journey and their road to see what the hubbub is and how you can better shape your community based on the models and the role models that they've given you. Thanks, guys.